Cervélo has just revealed their new triathlon bike and it looks amazing. They've been showing it off at Kona, so if you guys want to learn more, be sure to stick around. Cervelo's new bike is called the P5X, and if you take a look at it, it looks a lot like the Diamondback Andean that I talked about a couple weeks ago. But I think this bike looks even more insane than the Andean since it doesn't even have a seat tube. It's pretty interesting how similar the two designs of those bikes are. I don't know if there's any copying going on, but apparently the Cervélo took 3 years to develop. So I guess it's been in the making for a little while. As you can see, the frame comes down really close to the ground and it also fills up a lot of room between the two wheels. So as we learned with the Diamondback Andean, that's all about aerodynamics, and that's the best way to make an aerodynamic triathlon bike these days. So just like the Andean, they've incorporated a few different places for storage on the bike frame. So down by your feet by the cranks, there's actually a little cubby that they're calling the stealth box, and that would be for putting tools or tubes, that type of stuff. And then there's another spot for storage called the speed case, which is right in the middle of the frame, and that is actually a removable box. So if you're doing an Olympic or a shorter distance Ironman, you could potentially take that off if you're not using that space for storage. I would imagine that it would affect the aerodynamics if you took it off. I'm not 100% sure about that, but the box does look like it fits well with the frame and potentially would be pretty important for the aerodynamics of the bike. Another interesting thing about the speed case is that you can put a bottle cage and your bottle right on top of it. There's actually 2 bolts there. You can't really tell from any of the pictures because they haven't actually put a bottle or bottle cage on there. I guess it probably affects the aerodynamics. You'd probably want to have some other system for water if you're doing an Ironman, but it is a pretty interesting design. The bike also has a bunch of storage compartments up by the stem, so there's definitely no shortage of storage on this bike. Another really cool design that this bike has is the base bar actually folds in half for easier storage. And the other thing that this base bar does that is pretty cool is that you can actually flip it up or down depending on which way you want it. So as you can see, there's a bit of a curve like this. So you can either have it going down or going up. So I'm assuming this makes the bike a lot more customizable for different riders. Of course, this bike has disc brakes like the Andean, so we can see that we're definitely moving towards disc brakes even on triathlon bikes. It allows the wheels to be more stiff and more aerodynamic, and it also helps with a little bit more braking power. Now, I'm sure you guys are interested in how much this bike costs, and it's definitely a pretty big jump from the Andean. There's 2 different options for this bike. You can either get Shimano Ultegra Di2 for $11,000, and the more pricey option is the SRAM E-Tap for $15,000. So definitely a huge jump from the Diamondback Andean, which actually only starts at $6,200. You can also get the option of a custom bike case specifically for this bike, which costs $850. A few more interesting things about the bike is that it's actually designed and engineered in Canada and it's built in the United States, so there's nothing that's really gone overseas. That probably contributes to the high price, but you know it's going to be good quality. The people at Triathlete magazine actually had a ride on it and they wrote an article about it, so I'll put it down in the comments down below if you want to read it. But basically the takeaway points are that the bike is not less stiff than the P5, so even without that seat tube, the bike still has a lot of stiffness and you can't really tell the difference. They also mentioned that it's pretty easy to be adjusted, so it's really user-friendly, even though most of these people that are going to be riding these bikes aren't necessarily going to be, you know, your everyday person who can afford an $11,000 bike. But at least we know once you buy it, you're actually going to be able to fit on it pretty easily. Overall, I think this is an awesome bike. I would probably take this one over the Diamondback Andean if I had the choice, but obviously the Andean starts at a much lower price. So I think that's probably more a bike that would be an attainable goal. I love seeing these new wacky bikes coming out, and I'm hoping to see more of these cool bikes coming out in the future from other brands. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you learned a little bit more about the Cervélo P5X. Be sure to like and subscribe down below if you want to see more stuff. Thanks for watching, and never stop trying.